earlier today, we had an opportunity to see the U.S. debut of young Peter Smith versus Harman Delgado. We're going to join that in the second round.
Clearly Peter Smith's round.
Round number 2 on Heavyweight Explosion. I'm Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with John Saraceno. Hope you're enjoying our show. We take a look there. Also referee Toby Gibson, veteran ref here in Las Vegas.
Arnie, I'm trying to figure out who that tattoo is on Delgado's bicep.
I think Kenny Keene left it there from the last fight.
Looks like Che Guevara, but I don't know why it would be him. Either that or Charles Manson. Maybe it is Manson, because I think Manson is incarcerated in Texas. Can't quite make it out.
It does look like Che Guevara from here.
Maybe he's Cuban ancestry. And he's decided to get that jab going here in the second round.
Delgado is a Cuban name. Freddie Delgado is Cuban. No, he's Puerto Rican, Freddie Delgado. Another good body shot there from Peter Smith, showing us a lot on the inside.
Hey, this Peter Smith kid can fight. He really can. He's got some good basic skills. And there you see again hooking off the jab, which you alluded to earlier in the first round.
That's Peter Smith. He's in the striped shorts. Harman Delgado out of El Paso, Texas.
Boy, that left hook to the body really took the air out of Delgado. You just saw him inhale.
Not in the best shape of his life either. As we mentioned, Delgado, the heaviest he's ever been as a pro, 212 pounds. He's only fought as a pro once over 200.
Peter Smith can get on his toes a little bit and box when necessary. And you also see him basically pressing the fight here in the first 2 rounds.
Got some
good
hand speed for a heavyweight. Oh, good right hand by Smith. Wobbles Delgado. Delgado very much in a shell right now. Second round, we're scheduled for 8. Delgado sort of in a survival mode already. Not much offense coming out of him.
I don't know if Peter Smith has an uppercut in his arsenal, but when he gets in close, Delgado, if he could just fire a short right uppercut, when Delgado leans forward trying to avoid the right hand, that could be a troublesome punch.
I tend to agree with you. You may not have that punch
right
yet.
There. That would have been the spot before, right there, Artie.
Only his 13th professional fight. Uppercuts quite often one of the last punches to get developed by professionals.
Certainly good command of the basic punches in boxing, though. He puts together his shots very well.
Uses the ring size well also. So I think after 2 rounds, we're in agreement. He might have a future in this business.
Definitely.
We're coming to the end of round number 2. We're scheduled for 8 on Heavyweight Explosion. Another good round for Peter Smith, John, and you know, he's worked the body real well. He's hooking off the jab, he's doubling up on the jab. And again, perhaps at this point, the only thing missing from the arsenal, as you pointed out, is he gets on the inside. Nice uppercut can put away Delgado. But seems to be having his way and you know, enjoying his U.S. debut. We're going to take a look here at action from round number 2. One where Smith seemed to pick up the pace to the body a little bit, take advantage of Delgado's 212 pounds on his rather small frame.
Peter Smith's still learning how to fight, and he'll get that right uppercut down.
We'll show you those replays later. Round number 3, scheduled for 8. These are heavyweights. Peter Smith, Transvaal, South Africa. He's in the blue and white striped shorts. Oh, comes out real fast in this round,
nice
John,
double
against Harman Delgado out of El Paso.
Very good double left hook by Smith. You know, the guy looks like he would be on GQ magazine instead of in a boxing ring. Really big, tall, good-looking guy.
Good-looking fighter of the Henry Maska mold.
A little more aggressive than Henry.
Oh, Delgado getting a bit of a wake-up call after Smith turned up the pace a little bit.
And Smith doesn't want to be on the ropes. He wants that fight fought in the center of the ring, right where he is, smack dab on the...
Delgado's got a little bit of punching power. He's got 6 knockouts in his 9 wins, 7 knockouts in the 12 wins for Peter Smith. Last one coming against Jimmy Huffman, as we mentioned back in April. in South Africa, Sun City. Stopped Huffman in the 4th round. He's on a 3 straight knockout streak, looking to make it 4 in a row today.
You know, he just threw that right uppercut, but he missed with it. But he tried it. Delgado really needs to try to back up Smith and bully him, which he's trying to do a little bit of right here, as we see. That's the only way he's going to win this fight. This is his only shot, really. He can't stand on the outside of Peter Smith and expect to outbox this kid.
And again, as you've mentioned, not so much is coming from Smith once he's on the inside, so that seems to be the place for Delgado to go. And he had his one flurry where he happened to get Smith caught on the ropes. For the most part, though, Smith uses the ring well, has good lateral motion, good left hook there.
Several times in this fight, we've seen Peter Smith uncork that left hook, and it's really shook up Delgado.
A little more than halfway gone here in round number 3, and this is scheduled for 8.
Good body work. You can always tell when Delgado gets in a little bit of trouble, he comes back with his own body shots to try and keep Smith off. See, he's on the outside there, Arnie, and he's not punching Delgado. That's not where he wants to be, just standing there. He's got to be moving his head and punching if he's on the outside like that. He's a sitting duck.
And those body shots might be hurting Smith just a little bit. As we mentioned, it's the heaviest he's ever been coming in at 216 today. I don't know if it's muscle or soft. Delgado's been 10 rounds twice before in his pro career. Smith's only been 8 one time. This is scheduled for 8. So we're coming under 30 seconds in round number 3. That's Peter Smith in the striped shorts out of South Africa. Harman Delgado from El Paso, Texas, 32 years of age. Peter Smith, 25. Will be 25 actually November 1st.
That time he caught him with the uppercut, not flush.
And under 10 seconds to go in round number 3. Another good round for U.S. debut of Peter Smith. Take a look in the corner one more time of Peter Smith, Alan Towil Sr. and Jr. Their most notable heavyweight, as we had mentioned earlier, Pierre Kotzer, former #1 contender.
Let's face it, Arnie, this kid's got a lot more natural ability than Pierre Kotzer does. This kid knows really how to fight. Pierre Kotzer is more of a brawler.
We're going to take a look at action here from round number 3. And John, as we're talking here, forget about just whether he has more natural ability than Pierre Kotzer. Right now, he's got a jab for a fighter that seems to have more experience than the 12 professional fights that he's been in. Fourth round action. We're at the Aladdin Hotel, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with John Saraceno. It's been all Peter Smith thus far in his U.S. debut. Looking to make it 13 straight wins. Perhaps add an 8th knockout to the record. Delgado right now 9-3-1 with 6 KOs. Having trouble getting to Smith. Best work thus far has been on the inside.
One of the questions that Peter Smith will face as he continues to rise in the heavyweight ranks will be, can he take a big punch from a big heavyweight? That question has not been answered yet.
I can tell you that Jimmy Huffman, in the fight that we saw in Sun City, landed a couple of good shots earlier in the fight on Smith. He seemed to weather them well. He's got very good legs, able to get out of trouble by dancing. Be interesting to see not only, though, what kind of a chin he has in the future, but just how well he takes the body attack. As you mentioned, a few times Delgado's been able to get on the inside and go to the body. He hasn't particularly liked it.
Nobody likes to get hit to the body, right? It's one of those things, boy, when you start going downstairs on a fighter, you can turn the fight around immediately. Both of these fighters have tested each other's will by going to the body early. I tell you, Freddie Delgado, Freddie Delgado.
Yeah.
Harman Delgado, let's face it, he's not a guy that's going anywhere in the heavyweight division. But he's coming in here, and he's taking a lot of licks, and he's fighting back. And he keeps trying to press the fight. Well, that left hook, he's just eating him alive with it. Doubling and tripling up on it.
the other hand, Smith's abandoned the body attack as we're coming up on the 1 minute mark to go in round number 4. Hasn't gone downstairs very much this fight to bring Delgado's hands totally down so that he could really unleash a left-right combination. Doing well with the left hook. Oh, there was a good right downstairs though. Right away brought Delgado's hands down.
Well, he probably punches to the body better than most heavyweights, though.
John, if you were
Strictly
working,
headhunters.
If you were working with Smith after an outing like this and you want to keep him high profile in the U.S., who might you match him with? Any names come immediately to mind?
I mean, you can easily see Peter Smith fighting really anybody in the top 20. I mean, beyond maybe the top 10. I don't think you'd want to take a chance necessarily by putting him. How about a Tony Tubbs?
Or I was even thinking of, like, you know, even a Nate Tubbs.
Yeah, probably better.
Yeah, you know, or if that's too quick a move up for him.
I don't think it would be. I really don't.
10 seconds to go, round number 4. This is scheduled for 8. These are heavyweights. Here on Heavyweight Explosion. Well, near the end there, round number 4, John Delgado drops to the mat and it calls for a visit from our local physician here in Las Vegas. Toby Gibson, the referee, said it was a slip. Didn't rule it as a knockdown. We're going to take a look at it here. There might be some fatigue starting to set in on Delgado.
Delgado hit Smith with a 1-2 right before that.
You know, we couldn't see the legs there, but to me it looks like he voluntarily went down on one knee after taking this combination from Smith. Delgado coming in at 2 under. There was a good right hand lead from Smith.
There was a chopping right hand by Delgado.
Oh, and I think that right up on top of the head, that made him drop to one knee. The bell rang just then.
Out. Raise his trunks a little bit, my friend.
Go get the stool out.
5th round opens with referee Toby Gibson yelling at the corner of Harman Delgado to get moving and get out of there. Somewhat of a controversial situation. The end of round number 4 is Harman Delgado, as the bell rang, dropped to one knee. Referee Toby Gibson didn't call it a knockdown. Came just at the bell, but in looking at the replay between rounds 4 and 5, John, it looked to me like he might have just dropped down there from exhaustion and from some of the hurt that Peter Smith's laying on him.
Hard to say, too, because when you get hit high in the temple like that, a lot of times you lose your balance and equilibrium. And it's quite possible that for a moment he was dazed and he went down on one knee. We see Peter Smith coming out very strong in this round to try and take advantage of that strong finish at the end of the 4th round.
Delgado, the heaviest he's ever been at 212 pounds, quite frankly doesn't carry it all that well. Might be tiring now. He's been 10 rounds twice in his career, 8 rounds one other time. Peter Smith never been 8, been 8 just one time, and that was back in April of '94 against Willie Jake in South Africa. He weighed 203 pounds for that fight. He weighs 216 today. As we're almost halfway gone in round number 5. That's Smith. He's in the striped shorts. It's been all Smith thus far. Unofficially, I've got it a shutout for Smith. John, I assume you've got it the same way.
4-zip.
Oh, good right hand to the body by Smith.
And when Delgado throws that lead right hand, Arnie, he's been scoring with it. One of the things I like about Smith is that when he gets hit, he fights back. Doesn't go in their shell like some fighters tend to do.
Delgado had him on the ropes, just didn't take advantage of it.
Once again, that could be a function of conditioning, which you alluded to before.
I was happy to take a step back and let things just pick up where they were.
I detect a little bit of a mouse developing under the right eye of Peter Smith.
Absolutely. I was just noticing that myself. And it certainly wasn't from a headbutt, because Smith, the much taller of the two, it'd be very difficult for the head of Delgado to get in there as we're coming on the 30-second mark for round number 5. That's Smith in the striped shorts, Harman Delgado in the solid white. Smith's U.S. debut. Trying to join the ranks of some very well-known South African heavyweights right now. Corey Sanders, Franz Botha, up-and-coming Courage Shabalala.
He's bleeding a little bit, Arnie, from that cut.
Under 10 seconds, round number 5. It's scheduled for 8. They'll have a little work cut out for themselves in the corner of Peter Smith. Get that eye cut under control. You know, John, we take a look here in the corner of Peter Smith, and we're going to take a listen in here about what they're going to tell him here, as he seems to be getting a little tired himself.
And he's also got a mouse under the left eye. So some of those punches from Delgado's starting to take effect, particularly that lead chopping right hand that he likes to use. And Delgado's not in real good shape either, Arnie. He's got a large welt on the right side of his forehead from those left hooks that Smith loves to throw.
Take a breath. One more.
You take a look at action here from round number 5, and here's a right hand that might have put that welt at the bottom of the eye of Peter Smith. Comes off of Delgado's gloves. Smith tries to come back with action of his own. Doesn't land, though. Round number 6, we're scheduled for 8 on Heavyweight Explosion. Peter Smith's corner working on welts and little nicks on both of his eyes in between rounds. Harman Delgado, as John mentioned, between rounds. A little bit of a welt under his right eye, but landed a good right hand. Did a little bit of damage to Peter Smith, and you've got to wonder right now why Smith hasn't really put an all-out effort here to try to end this. He hasn't put together that 4 or 5 punch combination. He'll land with 2, take that step back, admire his work.
You know, he did at the start of the 5th round, coming off the big end of the 4th round, when Delgado went to the canvas. The first 30 seconds of the round, he looked like he wanted to try to get him out of there, but then maybe, you know, figuring he was not going to be able to, this guy's like a little bull, he thought it'd be better off to back off.
Speaking of backing off, Delgado landed a very good left hook to the body of Peter Smith, and he backed off real fast.
The other thing that's going to be interesting to watch, anytime a young fighter has any type of little injury or nick, it can become a psychological concern for him. And how is Peter Smith going to react to that?
A lot of concerns here today for Peter Smith. First time in the United States. I'm not exactly sure how long he's been in the country, but even if a week or less, and he's fighting some very big jet lag, unusual surroundings for him. Pressure of being in Las Vegas.
A lot of things to go against a young fighter fighting for the first time in Las Vegas. But really, he's sticking to his fight plan for the most part very well.
Not looking quite as sharp, though, as he looked in the first 4 rounds. Again, good left hook to the body. Backs up Smith from Delgado. Delgado lands a left hook there. I think he's starting to bring the hands down to Smith a little bit with those body shots.
This is turning into a bit of a difficult fight for Smith at this point, because it appeared for a while there he would be able to get Delgado out of there, and now it's turning into a real struggle.
Start to watch how that right hand of Peter Smith's coming down to protect that side of his, where Delgado's really been teeing off. Left hooks to the body. Oh, little slip there. He keeps that right low. Watch for that Delgado left hook to come up on top. A little bit of punching power on the part of Delgado.
And notice how Smith is beginning to backpedal and retreat even more in this fight. Not quite taking it to Delgado the way he was early in the fight.
He's only been past 6 rounds one time in his career.
There was a good right hand by Peter Smith. He needs to drop that right hand in more, Arnie, behind the jab. Good combination puncher.
Warning from Toby Gibson as Smith drops a couple of low shots in there, and I think Smith's looking a little fatigued. He's trying to rest on the ropes a little bit, started to rest there, thought better of it. Moving a little slower as we're under 10 seconds to go in round number 6 on Heavyweight Explosion. It's turning into a little bit more of a brawl than Peter Smith expected. We take a look there in the corner of Peter Smith. John, I took a peek over your shoulder, noticed that our man, Harman Delgado, won his first round on your scorecard.
I gave him the 6th round. I thought he kind of out-hustled Smith.
I gave the round even, but certainly a much better round for Delgado. As we take a look, they're applying that ice pack under the left eye of Peter Smith.
That's not really in a bad spot unless the swelling really starts developing, where it starts puffing up the lower eyelid. where it could obstruct his vision.
We take a look down in the corner of Harman Delgado. Had his best round thus far in the fight. Really started to dig that left hook to the right side of the body of Peter Smith.
Bust him up.
Round number 7, and only the second time Peter Smith been this far. Harman Delgado's been full 10 twice in his career.
This is the kind of fight where you find out about a fighter. You really do. A young fighter especially.
Well, Peter Smith might have been expecting a little bit easier outing than what he's receiving here today. Harman Delgado moving up in weight class. Oh, good three-punch quick combination by Smith. Best he's shown in rounds. Delgado coming in at 212 pounds today, the heaviest he's ever been. 15 pounds heavier than his last fight against Kenny Keene, where he was stopped at 7. Peter Smith coming in at the heaviest he's ever been at 216 pounds.
Another question, Arnie, would be, what kind of punch does Peter Smith really have? I keep wanting to call Harman Delgado Freddie Delgado. Stopped in his last fight, and he's hit Delgado with a lot of solid shots, but Delgado has gone nowhere. He's been momentarily stunned a couple times, but as of yet, unable to drop him. Especially with that left hook behind that jab.
Delgado's only been stopped once in his career, and that was that fight against Kenny Keene. Stopped in the 7th round.
So you know he's got a pretty good chin.
9-3-1, 6 knockouts of his own. Of course, Peter Smith undefeated. Coming into this fight 12-0. He's got 7 KOs, 3 straight KOs. Last one, as we mentioned, coming against Jimmy Huffman out of Chicago. He stopped him in Sun City back in April. 4 rounds. Showed pretty good punching power there. Having trouble though putting Harman Delgado away here. Referee Toby Gibson breaks the fighters. Delgado can't seem to get that same offense going again that he did in round number 6.
He just got hit
to dig that left hook to the body.
He got hit with a right hand there about 15 seconds ago that really backed him off a little bit. And Smith is doing just enough body work downstairs to be able to say, hey, you're going to have to stay on the outside because you're going to get hit when you come inside downstairs. And then he's able to pick him off with the jab with the right hand. Throws a textbook left hook when he turns his body, gets good torque from his hips.
Delgado doing a bit of a chase,
but really
not able to get anything off once he gets Smith on the ropes. And you mentioned earlier that might be a fatigue factor. He can't seem to get anything happening once he does. He chased him, got him where he wanted to have him, and then did nothing. And actually it was Smith that got off the 4-punch combination. His run to 20 seconds in round number 7. We're scheduled for 8. That's Peter Smith from Transvaal, South Africa. He's in the blue and white striped shorts. Harman Delgado out of El Paso, Texas. He's in the solid white. We're going to be coming on to the 8th and final round of Heavyweight Explosion. And Heavyweight Explosion is being brought to you today by Corona Extra, La Cerveza Más Fina. I love saying that.
And you do it with such vim and vigor.
I figured maybe they'll send me a case or something. I don't know, you know. We're going to listen in on the corner, Harman Delgado.
You got to get on his ass and you're going to make him feel. Hear me? Yeah. Fight this for everybody back home. Come on. Move your head, walk him down, bang him.
Yeah. Harman, he's dropping his left hand for his body. When you're in close, bam!
All out with your guy. Come on now.
Eighth and final round. Perhaps a little tougher than Peter Smith had expected, John, in his U.S. debut here. Harman Delgado still standing going into the 8th. And if you can take a look at a close-up of Peter Smith's face, landed a few shots of his own during the 7 previous rounds.
He certainly has, and clearly the mandate from Delgado's corner was you got to walk him down and take him out. This is the last round. Clearly he's way behind on points, and he needs a knockout or a stoppage to win the fight.
Well, they certainly noticed that Smith's been dropping his hands when Delgado goes to the body and telling their man to take advantage of it. Go upstairs and try to do something. He was successfully able to do that only in round number 6. Smith's corner wanting him to get going with like a knockout in his U.S. debut here in Las Vegas, the mecca of boxing. Only the second time Peter Smith's been into the 8th round. Delgado's been 10 twice. 3-fight knockout streak in jeopardy here for Peter Smith. Boy, a lot of nasty bruising underneath that left eye of Smith.
And Harman Delgado is nothing if he's not tough. I mean, really, he's taken some shots to the body and to the head in this fight.
And you got to wonder why a fighter like Delgado doesn't, shed down from 212 down to 190 and really take being a cruiserweight seriously. He can fight. Good tough fighter.
Peter Smith, just too much of a technician, though, for Harman Delgado.
Again, Smith coming in the heaviest he's ever been, 216 pounds. As a pro, has been as light as 196.
He's going to need to be up there in that 216, 220-pound range. It looks like he carries the weight fairly well. Looks like he carries the weight great. Wish we looked like that.
But looks a little tired, though, in the 8th round here. We've got about 45 seconds to go in the fight. Referee Toby Gibson doing an excellent job of keeping these guys apart. Hasn't been much clinching. Hands of Delgado really starting to slip to his sides now as Smith starts to tee off. But he seems to land those 2-punch combinations, John, and then he starts to backpedal himself instead of moving forward.
Exactly. Beneath the waist, you can really tell that Peter Smith is not a natural heavyweight. He does not really have the legs of a real bona fide heavyweight.
For example, there he landed a beautiful left hook to the body, followed textbook upstairs with a left hook to the face, and then took 3 steps backwards. And we're about to end the fight. 8 rounds in the books right now. Peter Smith, U.S. debut out of the way. I'm sure he had hoped for a knockout here in Las Vegas. Nevertheless, looked very sharp. Took some punishment to the eyes. Harman Delgado seemed to get some body work in the middle rounds on Smith. Wasn't able to follow it up.
Good fight.
John, how you got it in the final? 79-73?
Smith, clear-cut winner. I don't know how many rounds you gave him, but they may have given him a couple of rounds. I gave him 1.
I didn't give him any. I only called the 6th round even. But he was in all the rounds. It was just not enough to win them, though. But he laid some punishment on Peter Smith, and if nothing else, Peter Smith has found out that there's going to be no free lunches on coming to fight in the U.S. We take a look at action here from round number 8. And there was that left hook to the body and followed by the left hook upstairs. And Smith was never able to seem to land more than 2 punches in a row, partly his own fault. It wasn't so much Delgado covering up or getting out of the way. It was Smith would land them, and then he would take off, go someplace else. And here's the decision from Chuck Hull, our ring announcer.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is the decision of the judges. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Dave Moretti scores 79-73. Judge Bill Belegia scores 80-72. And Judge Glenn Trowbridge scores 80-72. For the winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, Peter Smith.
Well, there you have it. Peter Smith improves to 13-0, remains undefeated. His knockout streak ends at 3 in a row, though. He's still got 7 KOs